She built a $10 million empire while fighting cancer, or CEO's hospital journey, the beginning of the end. Or was it? The fluorescent lights of Memorial Hospital's oncology ward hummed softly as 24-year-old Sarah Mitchell sat in the consultation room, her hands trembling slightly as Dr. Peterson delivered words that would change her life forever. "Stage 3 aggressive breast cancer," he said gently. "We need to start chemotherapy immediately." Sarah felt the room spin. Just 6 months ago, she had been celebrating her promotion to junior executive at a Fortune 500 tech company. She had dreams, ambitions, and a 5-year plan that didn't include fighting for her life. At 23, she was supposed to be building her career, not battling a disease that killed thousands every year. "What are my chances?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "With aggressive treatment, we're looking at a 60 to 70% survival rate. But Sarah, you're young and strong. We'll fight this together." 60 to 70%. That meant there was a 30 to 40% chance she wouldn't see her 25th birthday. The dark night of the soul, the first round of chemotherapy, hit Sarah like a freight train. She had read about the side effects: nausea, fatigue, hair loss. But nothing prepared her for the reality. Within 2 weeks, her thick brown hair began falling out in clumps. She remembered standing in the shower, watching it circle the drain, tears mixing with the water. Her company had been supportive initially, offering her medical leave and assuring her that her job would be waiting when she recovered. But Sarah knew the truth. In the cutthroat corporate world, being gone for months meant being forgotten. Her projects would be reassigned, her clients would move on, and someone else would take her place. One night, lying in her hospital bed unable to sleep due to the pain and nausea, Sarah had an epiphany. If she was going to fight this disease, she needed something to fight for, not just against. She needed a purpose bigger than survival. She grabbed her laptop, the one luxury she had insisted on bringing to the hospital, and began researching. What she discovered shocked her. The billion-dollar problem nobody was solving. Sarah learned that cancer patients like herself faced an entirely separate battle beyond their disease: financial devastation. The average cancer patient in America spent over $150,000 on treatment, and that didn't include lost wages, travel costs, or experimental therapies not covered by insurance. But what made Sarah's entrepreneurial mind start racing was discovering that there was no comprehensive platform connecting cancer patients with financial resources, grants, crowdfunding, medical bill negotiation services, and affordable care options. Patients were left to navigate a complex, fragmented system while fighting for their lives. "This is insane," Sarah muttered to herself, scrolling through forum after forum of desperate patients, asking for help they couldn't find. That night, bald, exhausted, and hooked up to an 4-drip, Sarah Mitchell made a decision that would change everything. She was going to build the platform that didn't exist. She was going to create Hope Financial, a comprehensive app and service that would help cancer patients navigate the financial nightmare of treatment. And she was going to build it from her hospital bed, building an empire between chemotherapy sessions. The nurses thought she was crazy. Her family begged her to focus on getting better. Her doctor warned her about stress during treatment. But Sarah had found her purpose, and nothing was going to stop her. She began working 14-hour days between treatment sessions. When the nausea was too severe, she would work for 20-minute intervals, then rest, then work again. She taught herself to code during the hours she couldn't sleep due to pain. She conducted market research during chemotherapy infusions, her laptop balanced precariously on the hospital tray table. Her first challenge was funding. No investor wanted to bet on a terminal cancer patient building a startup from a hospital bed. She received 47 rejection emails in her first month. The 48th email changed everything. An angel investor named Marcus Chen, who had lost his wife to cancer 3 years earlier, saw something in Sarah's pitch. It wasn't just the business plan. It was her determination. "I'm not investing in your idea," Marcus told her during their video call, Sarah wearing a scarf to cover her bald head. "I'm investing in you. Anyone who can build a business while fighting stage 3 cancer has the kind of resilience that can't be taught." He invested $250,000. The turning point with funding secured, Sarah worked frantically to build her minimum viable product, MVP. She hired a small team of remote developers who could work around her erratic hospital schedule. She conducted user interviews with fellow cancer patients in the oncology ward. Turning her illness into her greatest competitive advantage, she had direct, daily access to her target market. 4 months into her treatment, Sarah launched Hope Financial Beta. It was rough around the edges, glitchy, and had limited features, but it worked. The platform helped users find and apply for cancer-specific grants and financial aid, negotiate medical bills. Sarah had learned hospitals often accepted 30 to 40% less if negotiated properly, connect with crowdfunding resources, find clinical trials that paid participants, access affordable medication programs, get free financial counseling from certified advisors. Within the first week, 500 cancer patients signed up. Within the first month, 5,000. The platform went viral within the cancer community. Sarah's story, building a startup from her hospital bed, was featured in local news, then national news, then international media. Success amidst suffering, but success came with a price. There were days Sarah was so sick from chemotherapy that she couldn't lift her head from the pillow. There were nights she cried from the physical pain and emotional exhaustion. There were moments she wanted to give up. Her darkest day came during her 6th month of treatment. A particularly brutal chemotherapy session had left her unable to eat, barely able to think. Her white blood cell count had dropped dangerously low, and she had developed a severe infection requiring intensive care. "Sarah, you need to rest," her nurse pleaded. "Your body can't handle this stress." Sarah looked at the laptop beside her bed, then at the 4-pole pumping life-saving medicine into her veins. She thought about the 50,000 users now depending on Hope Financial. She thought about the woman she had met that morning who cried because the platform had helped her find $15,000 in grants she didn't know existed. "Just one more hour," Sarah whispered. "I'll rest after I finish this investor pitch." That pitch secured $2 million in Series A funding. The empire takes shape as Sarah's treatment progressed, so did Hope Financial. She hired a CEO to handle day-to-day operations while she focused on strategy and product development from her hospital room. She built partnerships with major hospitals, insurance companies, and pharmaceutical manufacturers. By month 9 of her treatment, Hope Financial had 200,000 active users, helped patients access over $45 million in financial assistance, partnered with 150 hospitals across the country, generated $3 million in revenue through premium services and business-to-business partnerships. Investors who had initially rejected Sarah were now begging for a meeting. The company that had seemed like a pipe dream was now valued at $10 million. But Sarah still wasn't done with treatment. She still showed up to board meetings via video call from her hospital bed, bald and pale but sharp as ever. She still coded features while hooked up to chemotherapy drips. She still fought 2 wars simultaneously, one against cancer, one to build something meaningful. The final battle, Sarah's last chemotherapy session, was scheduled for early December. After 11 months of brutal treatment, endless hospital stays, and more pain than she thought humanly possible, the end was in sight. The day before her final treatment, her oncologist delivered the news she had been praying for. Her latest scan showed no evidence of disease. The cancer was in remission. Sarah broke down crying. Her nurse held her as she sobbed, not just from relief, but from the sheer emotional weight of everything she had endured. The next day, for her final chemotherapy session, Sarah did something different. Instead of opening her laptop, she sat quietly, reflecting on the journey. She thought about the scared 23-year-old girl who had received a death sentence and turned it into a mission. She thought about every rejected investor pitch, every painful treatment, every moment she wanted to quit but didn't. She thought about the 200,000 cancer patients whose lives had been changed by a platform built from a hospital bed. The triumphant return 3 months later, Sarah walked into the New York Stock Exchange, her hair just starting to grow back in short pixie cut. Hope Financial was going public. At 24 years old, Sarah Mitchell was now the CEO of a company valued at over $100 million. The IPO would make her personally worth $10 million. More importantly, Hope Financial was now helping over 500,000 cancer patients annually navigate the financial burden of treatment. As she rang the opening bell, Sarah looked at the cameras and said something that would be quoted in business schools for years to come. Cancer tried to take everything from me. My health, my hair, my future. Instead, it gave me clarity. It gave me purpose. It gave me the understanding that we have two choices when facing impossible odds. We can surrender, or we can build something so meaningful that our struggle becomes our strength. I chose to build. The legacy today, Hope Financial is valued at $10 million and growing. But for Sarah, the numbers are secondary to the impact. Every day she receives messages from cancer patients who found hope through her platform. Hope that their diagnosis won't lead to bankruptcy. Hope that they can focus on healing rather than bills. Hope that someone understands their struggle. Sarah still visits Memorial Hospital regularly, not as a patient anymore, but as a mentor to newly diagnosed cancer patients. She sits beside their beds, shares her story, and reminds them that their diagnosis doesn't define their destiny. Her office wall displays two items, her hospital bracelet from her first day of chemotherapy, and a photo of herself ringing the NYSE bell. The message is clear. Our darkest moments can become the foundation of our greatest achievements. The truth about building an empire, Sarah's story isn't just about building a $10 million company. It's about the power of purpose-driven entrepreneurship. It's about finding meaning in suffering. It's about refusing to let circumstances dictate your destiny. When asked about her success, Sarah always says the same thing. Cancer didn't make me successful. My response to cancer did. Anyone facing impossible odds has a choice. Be consumed by the struggle or be defined by how you fight back. I chose to fight by building something bigger than myself. The final word, she was given a 30 to 40% chance of dying. She chose to spend her survival fighting for others. She built a $10 million empire from a hospital bed. She proved that our greatest struggles can become our most powerful purpose. She is Sarah Mitchell, and her journey from cancer patient to CEO millionaire proves that sometimes rock bottom is the strongest foundation you'll ever build on. Epilogue. Sarah remains cancer-free 3 years later. Hope Financial has expanded internationally and helped over 2 million cancer patients access $500 million in financial assistance. Sarah continues to lead the company while advocating for healthcare reform and supporting cancer research. Her message to anyone facing their own impossible battle: your struggle is not your ending, it's your beginning. What you build from the ashes of your hardest moments will define you far more than the fire that created them.